Hey guys, welcome back, and this is probably gonna be the last video. Well, of course it's gonna be the last video because tomorrow's the event, right? So last sort of build that I cooked up for the event is a mine build, and this one's on the Polytheist. So if you look at the Devout of Lunaris, spells fire two additional projectiles, and no spells cast the target location instead of around you. So both of these apply to Pyroclast mine, so I figured, it's pretty good. So we're gonna use that. A bunch of other stuff that's okay in there, right? I didn't enable the blind in there, but of course, we can still get a little bit more crit chance from blind. Charges always good, right? And region while moving is nice as well. Evasion rate sadly is wasted, but overall, this pretty solid build. We got a lot of projectiles, so the damage is there, especially for bosses, since you can set up all 23 mines. So Pyroclast adds a bunch of damage to itself, and the more mines there are in the chain, the more projectiles it shoots. And in total, if you continue shooting while it is being detonated, you can get around 400 projectiles, give or take, maybe a little bit more actually. And out of those 400 projectiles, around 44% will hit the target. So that's, a lot of damage. It's potentially like 50 million burst. So let's go over the tree. Since we're starting on the left side, so we're kind of forced into armor. Well, not exactly, but I figured we can use Prism Guardian pretty well. So, might as well, right? So we're starting over here, which means that we're gonna be focusing a little bit on resistances, which means we can use Righteous Fire, right? And of course I wanted to get Pain Attunement, so we're using Petrified Blood as well. But the tree itself is, just a bunch of life, a little bit of life regen, some max res, where you can get it, over here as well. Potentially, you could pass down here, but you're gonna be losing out on quite a bit of damage. So I just went upwards. Charges, we don't generate endurance charges, but I have my +1 minimum on here, so we're gonna have 4 endurance charges always. Power and frenzy charges, of course, we're generating from mines, and we're just grabbing some crit over here. Very solid wheel for a character like this that's using a lot of charges. This lethal pride, so you kind of want it over here for the strength. If you manage to fix your strength with, let's say, gloves, you can drop this lethal pride and potentially go for like element immunity if you want. This does require another slot, but you have the class jewel in here, so you could potentially get it, well, sock it in Storm Shroud over here, right? Some charges, and we're moving, and the pathing is a little bit scuffed, but we're moving over here. Aura effect is pretty good on us for mines as well as for our own auras. Some more crit over here. This wheel is pretty much almost always taken when you're playing mines, right? Detonate mines while moving. So because I am lacking slots for automated detonate, I kind of have to take that one, and I don't have any other mine wheels allocated. I mean, all of these are pretty good masteries, right? So if you wanna swap something around, you can if you want, but this one is sort of mandatory with the setup that I have. So if you want, you can maybe grab this wheel or this wheel if you want. And Thread of Hope over here. So this is generally good. More traps, right? Some crit, some life. Mark the Prey is always nice, right? Some life, and of course the charges. Mana Master over here with reserve. So the tree is, it's the pathing is a little bit weird, but we grab what we need and we get to the mines over there and just fill out our damage. And for the items, so I have a +2/1 in here with crafted spell damage. You realistically can get something better, and if you do end up with like a pretty good wand, you can also craft mine throw speed, which will make the build feel a little bit better, right? Prism Guardian, so we can make use of pain attunement and all the other things that come along with it, right? Crown of the Inward Eye, I have it here with power charges. Generally, this isn't gonna come up too early, so you're probably gonna be using this or something else even um, in here before you get the power charges. You can always go for like a normal helmet early on to make sure that you have enough reservation for all of these auras, right? Because in here I do have Enlighten. But you don't really need it because we're at 49 without it. But if you do get this, you can also go for a life mastery like this, so you can increase your HP a little bit, right? Oh, sorry, I have steel skin enabled. So yeah, this is sort of why I don't have another automation setup, because I decided to use steel skin over here. If you don't want to use steel skin, you can use mines, right? Molten shell isn't exactly worth it. It's gonna be about the same, but this is also well, this is gonna be generally better earlier before you get some armor. But if you do manage to stack up like 3k 30k armor, you should switch to molten skin, right? Righteous fire in here, low level clarity, so we don't run out of mana. I mean, while moving, we still have quite a bit more than enough, to be honest. I just slotted it in for good measure. It's not mandatory to have it, to be honest, but it can be a little bit tricky later on when you're throwing all the mines all the time for a boss. I mean, when you're continuing the chain, when you want to throw the 23 mines and then detonate and then continue throwing them, so you might be struggling with mana because you're going to be reserved completely, and then you're going to need to, regen some mana to throw the mines. So do get some regen. Don't need much, but suck it in whatever you can afford. Zealotry, Vitality, Enlightened Determination. So as I've said, if you're early into the game, you can have a rare helmet with the mana reserve implicit and might be enough, or if not, then essence it and then mana reserve implicit, right? Assassin's Mark gives us a lot of damage. Of course, this is only a single target, since also mines can't apply on hits. Well, you can't use Mark on hit with mines, so this is a self-cast. And then we also have Arcanist Brand with Fireball and Combustion. So it's not mandatory to have like an Ignite-based skill, because we do have quite a bit of crit. Not, well, it's not crazy, but it's there. For non-mines, it's still noticeable. But if you do a setup like this, you can add Combustion, -10 resists, right? And then also this allows us to use Polaric Devastation for covering enemies in Ash, which is quite a bit of damage. Before Polaric Devastation starts appearing on the market, you can also use Gifts from Above if you want. This is not a very used ring, but it's still pretty solid. However, you do need Rational Doctrine to use it, so arguably this doesn't do anything, since Polaric Devastations are gonna appear before Gifts from the Above. But it's still a pretty decent ring if you want to use it. I mean, you can always look for something else, or even normal ring if you're looking for resist early on, right? So Replica Dragon Fang, this gives us basically 30% more damage. These also aren't gonna appear on like day one, most likely. Luckily, not too many people play Pyroclast mines, so even if they do appear early on, they're probably not gonna be expensive. And the Magnet over here. So for Magnet to work, you do need 400 strength, which can be a little bit tricky. Right now I have a ring in here with very good rolls on both attributes as well as catalyst. And if you want, you can also get strength from all of your items potentially, but you do need one more here for 400. So the strength is a little bit tricky on this build. That's why we're also using Lethal Pride. This is primarily for the Magnate and Rational Doctrine. We want to make sure that our strength is higher than intelligence. So we have Consecrated Ground around us at all times, so we can counteract the righteous fire degen, right? We do also have this, which every 4 seconds regenerates 15% of our life, which I guess it can be a little bit more if you roll things like increased life regeneration from items like these. So, this is not technically reliable regen, but it might, save your ass in a pinch, right? Recoup is nice since we're using petrified blood. If you want to take it, you can also do that instead of this. It's just primarily for the 50 life regen early on. But I don't know, this has also some regen over here. It's not much, but still something. So it's up to you really if you want to swap it out for some recoup. You can do that, of course. Just some recoup over here as well if you want to invest into just a ton of recoup. What else? Magnate. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Let's go over the skills. Well, I mean we kind of went over through them already, but Pyroclast Mine, try to get it to level 21. Awakened Elemental Focus. So this is why I said that we need the Arcanist brand with Fireball so we can ignite, because Awakened Elemental Focus is really good on fire skills because you're either focusing on ignite or you're not, and if you're not, it's just a lot of damage. So Awakened Elemental Focus, really good. Awakened Eli Pen, Fire Pen, self-explanatory, right? Minefield, Charge Mines is kind of the standard thing that you're going for when you're playing mines, right? And increased crit damage. These are probably the best gems for here. This slows our attack speed, so I'm not sure I would use it. Concentrate effect isn't too bad. It does make a single target a tiny bit better, especially against bigger targets. But for mapping, it's gonna be a little bit worse. But honestly, you can still use this since our mines are gonna be auto-targeting because of the ascendancy. So we have shield charge as well, so we move a little bit faster. And make sure you socket Petrified Blood and Purity of Fire in the shield in Prism Guardian. And like I said, you don't really need Enlighten for this. It's not a big deal. But if you do get it, you can get a little bit of more EHP from the Life Master if you want. But yep, that is it. This is the build. This is probably very comfy. I mean, I like Pyroclast mines in general. They're very comfy to play. The only downside is that it's not really a fast build, right? You do have shield charge with faster attack, so it's not that bad. And flame dash, you have both. So it's not like it's bad, but if you want to run Sanctum, just run Hex Blast or something on some faster character instead. But I mean, this would still be fine for Sanctum. So yeah, this is the mine build that I cooked up. And figured I need to do at least one spell. So there you go. And that is it for today. And I will talk to you, I don't know when the league is starting, so maybe in a week or so. We'll see. Anyway, later guys. Bye bye.